I was served a year in Vietnam, so I know the helicopters. That door was right spat, and I was in what they call an expeditionary force, which means we were stationed on an aircraft carrier and brought in by helicopter to either areas that had not been what they call swept in a long time, or, which was the toughest, or, this is being toughest, it was in trouble and in battles where they needed instant support. So that's what we did. And it was tough. I'm not sure I'd do it again. But I'm glad I did it. If that makes any sense.
Yes.
A lot of people, including you, chose not to participate.
Exactly. I know.
And a huge movement. And when I graduated from college in 1966, there was an awful lot of anti-war protests.
Yes, me too. I'm sorry.
I know. You were part of it.
Yeah, no.
I understand that. And I was livid with you. Hated you.
I know.
Didn't even know you then, but I couldn't stand what you were doing.
Here, like...
Turn down the volume.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There.
Okay, thanks so much.
Sure. I didn't know you then, but I was, I mean, when you were doing that, but I was very angry about you and other people.
I know, I'm sorry.
No.
No, it's good.
It's history. But now I have a much greater understanding for it. And
how do you feel about Iraq, Bob?
I think Iraq is a curse in the United States.
Absolutely.
I think it's the worst. If it's not correct, if what we did isn't correct to go into Iraq, the implementation of it was moronic and naive. And I thought it's typical of a confrontation the United States initiates by people who have no experience whatsoever in combat or war. None. The only person who did, Colin Powell, was against it, and they shuttled him out of the power zone. And we have it is horrible the way it's been done. They have taken reserve troops who are not meant to be long-term combat, and they have avoided the draft, which was in Vietnam and other times, and recycled these poor people, ripped them out of their jobs, ripped them out of their families, and recycled them in extended tours and new retours and so forth. And it's just moronic. It's made the United States hated around the world. Perhaps with the exception of the UK, but even within the UK, somewhat. And we've lost a lot of our prestige. We had the compassion of the world after 9/11, and the sympathy and the support, and we have totally killed that to the point where now the United States is viewed as arrogant, warmongering, and confrontational. And the hurt that Iraq has placed on the United States, both from a political standpoint around the world, and certainly within the United States now, but more so on the people who have been drawn in to fight it. You know, there were 5,000 some people who have died, 10,000 of those who were wounded, and the United States is going to be paying fortunes in support of the wounded for their lifetime, as they should. But it's a pox from the United States.
But oil, I mean.
When another naive Bush flapped his gums when we started Iraq, that the cost of the war would be more than paid for by the control of the flow of oil. And look what's happened to that.
But what he did was put a bullseye, focus their strategy.
oh,
Yeah.
here's what we're going to do, so this is how you can defeat us.
Exactly.
Which is why I disagree with the freedom of the press as it is today. They had too much freedom. It's good to know what's going on, but I don't think it's wise or prudent to go into a combat situation and let the enemy and broadcast your strategy to the world.
I at once agree with you and don't.
Yeah.
The reason I don't is because if we did not have freedom of the press, a lot of what's going on would just go
Right.
unnoticed, unreported, and be further implemented. So I think on the one hand, it's not logical to divulge your strategy. On the other hand, it's not productive to have people report it. I think it's a further example of how naive our government was. When we first started, they had what they call it, they had embedded press. And the reason they embedded the press wasn't to give them more access. It was to enable them to report on how wonderful the United States executed the war. And
how we weren't slaughtering innocent
how we weren't slaughtering innocent civilians.
Bombs.
Oh yeah. And this shock and awe, we all watched it like a football game.
Yeah, so we could sell toothpaste.
Exactly.
And tampons.
Exactly. And rather than they thought the world would just peel away and the United States march triumphantly into Baghdad, which in fact we did. And nobody is going to
Kuwait.
No. Well, Baghdad,
Yes,
Kuwait
but
also. But when we marched into Baghdad, we thought that we'd be welcomed triumphantly and cheered, like liberating
Auschwitz.
Yeah. And instead of that, we just created a disaster.
We're quite like Napoleon's Grand Army outside of Moscow.
yeah, but Kuwait. I mean, you know, like unbelievable. You know.
The first Gulf War.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Well,
we
the first
should
Gulf
have
War.
done it then. We should have done
Exactly.
it then.
Yes, but now none. So
We
what
don't
to
know
do?
what would have happened if we done it then. But one thing we did, Bush's father, who by the way did have military experience, Bush's father was smart enough to get the support of the world prior to going into Kuwait. And now little Bush talks about a coalition, which is, I won't use the bad word because you're filming me, but it's crap. I was going to use another phrase. We talk about the coalition troops. That's nonsense. You know, another country would have 100 people, country 4,000, the UK, whatever it was. For the United States, over 100,000, and we talk about a coalition. Coalition is where you have 10,000 or whatever from the United States, and 6,000 from a smaller country, and 9,000 from another country, and
Much more parity.
and much more parity. Exactly, Steve. Much more parity. You know, we have token support of the world, and to call it a coalition is naive and lying, in my opinion. So, don't get me more on Iraq.
Okay, we'll change the subject now.
Okay, so now, like, hold on, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Rain, you know, and like, oh no, what to do?
Global warming.
Yes.
Global warming. I saw, and you gave me some movie before you gave me the CD. To deny global warming is like having your head in the sand.
Exactly.
We have, and the rapid ascent of global warming is scary. The the charts that Al Gore had in that movie, which I thought was stunning, the movie. In fact, I drove 15, 20 miles to see it one night by myself.
Really?
Yeah. Because that's where it was playing. Some meeting or someplace. Not 20 miles, but a ways.
Yeah.
Not in the local theater. The charts he had were terrifying. You know, of hundreds of thousands of years, running along like this, and then the last 5 years, zoom. Well, the last 20 years, whatever it was. It's to deny it is naive. Have your head in the sand. And what if you believe? I'm not a scientist, and most people aren't scientists. Doesn't look at it from an emotional standpoint or from a family standpoint. Is like saying, in not 50 years, but in 500 years, the Earth will be polluted and gone.
Exactly.
And have killed itself.
Yes.
You know, we know of some suicide in our family. This would be a world of suicide. And,
perhaps it's a way of cleaning the Earth.
Destroying the Earth.
There's no way.
Yeah,
there's no other way, because mankind will not stop. It will not stop. It doesn't really matter, and it's denying it. Denying it is not naive. It's dangerous.
I think I may be completely wrong, but we talk about controlling heat emitting emissions and controlling this, controlling that, and we fire off rockets to the moon that must have the heat of mammoth heat and pollution. So I don't know, it doesn't make sense. But here we sit, and you know, I have a nice home.
Yeah, no.
You have a lovely home, and Annette has a lovely home. And we have a beautiful country, rich with natural resources, not oil, but rich with natural resources, and rich with wealth. The middle class in the United States is dumbfounding compared to the rest of the world. That's why we're so wealthy. You know, there's always the high levels of wealth in any country. There's always the low levels of wealth, but the United States has a huge middle class. That's why we have so much money. Yeah. Turn that thing off.
No, it's good.
No, turn it off.
Okay.
Do what you're told. But knowing you as I do, and knowing that for a lot of our lives there was chaos.
Exactly. Unbelievable
chaos.
Yeah.
I will never forget, I've told you this, I think you went with me to Third Male, the psychologist.
Yes.
And he had told me, not when you and I went, he told me at one point, I asked him, I said, do you know, and people, I'm not get emotional, people have all the problems I have, don't you think? And he said,
no.
No, he said no. He said, Bob, I know people who've had the experiences that you've had, negative, but I don't know anybody who's had them all.
Exactly.
And I thought, whoa, wow. And that's right.
Yeah,
you don't sit around and say, poor me, you don't. But with the chaos that we had in our family was just horrible. Particularly when we were kids. More so with you. I kind of got out of it.
Yeah.
It had turned bad.
You're just here.
Yeah. I drove our father to Malvern Institute twice. You know, a kid, 16 with a driver's license, driving his father to get
dried out,
and then again, and I had a party once in our barn.
Oh yeah, I did.
Yep, in our barn, when I had that big Altec speaker that Father had, and people had a ball, and they left at a barn party. And I remember,
Keg of beer?
I had a lot of people over, and I remember my father had worked on Weatherall's farm, mowing grass on weekends and summers, and I had some money. I remember I had to go to town to get some, not beer, but sodas, and chips and stuff like that. My father drove me, but I paid for it.
Well,
And I knew I was going to. And then, you know, Steve, you were saying my father was, you knew him, and he was a attractive guy and smart and all that.
And he was sober when I knew him.
I'm sure. Well, I don't know if he was sober in long stretches. He was enticing. I mean, I adored him, even with his problems, and I felt sorry for him. And when he was a drunk, he was tragic. But at this party, he came in, as a father would, and looked around and so forth. And I remember a lot of the girls thought, "Oh, your father's so attractive. What a wonderful man." And I got mad inside because he kind of got the glory instead of me,
Okay.
you know, as a kid. But not so much, not just that. I knew what a dog he was. He was a mutt. And here he was presented this attractive, enticing guy. That was, I'm 62, that was 40 plus years ago. And I remember it today like it was yesterday. And then that crazy house he had in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember too. The things you pull out will stay with you. Our mother, who we both know was an amazing lady. My memories of her and my feelings of her have just increased over time. She's a good lady. And I remember St. David's Church giving our mother $50 a week because she had no money.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember McLaren's oil deliveries. They'd come and put $10 of oil, which at that time was more than it is now, but nonetheless, $10 of oil on a dining room table. McLaren's put $10 of oil in our tank, and I'd take the $10 my mother left from the table. So it was. A lot of people have a lot of family problems, but ours were a greater extent, and as Terry Mail said, he knew there was lots of people that had problems, but no one that had them all.
Mm-hmm. But it's good. I mean, it's like, it's now me, it's good.
Yeah, it gives us perspective.
Yes, exactly.
It also gives us mountains to climb. I've had, and you've had, mountains to climb.
Because here.
Oh, not just that. Yeah.
But
that was in Vietnam. Came back and I had a brain tumor, meningioma.
And why?
Wow.
Hmm?
And why?
I was back from Vietnam 6 or 8 months, probably closer to 8. Oh, goodness.
Thank you so much.
What?
It's good.
Yeah. I was back from Vietnam and I was dating who became my first wife, who I love and still do today. She gave me great kids. But I'm dating, and I get these massive headaches on the way home from work.
And
the
why?
way home from her. I'll tell you. This is what I'm saying. Shut up and listen. And I think to myself, it would be like 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm 26 or something, whatever I was. 24. I get these massive headaches, and I thought, oh God, Bob, you can't hack going to work in the morning and staying out and having a time at night. And so finally, I don't know if I had a seizure, but my mother took me into to Russell Bowles, her doctor, and he had some tests done, and he was one of the most brilliant doctors in the country at the time. And he had me go to Rittenhouse, whatever it was, X-ray people, and they took the X-ray, and they decided I had thought I had a tumor. And I know now, and have known for quite some time, that it was very unusual to be able to detect it. I don't know if I've ever told you this. So I went to the hospital and had what they call a pneumoencephalogram, which is where they shoot dye out in your spine and put you in this chair, strapped in or whatever it is, and spin it around to get the dye up into your head. It's excruciatingly painful. And so I had the operation, blah, 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 and it was successful. Now, speed forward, my son's in medical school. This is true. My son's in medical school, an MD PhD program, and one of the questions they threw out to be historical in medicine is, does anybody know what a pneumoencephalogram is? And Coleman was the only one that raised his hand. But
why? I mean, like...
Well, they said at the time, it may have been because I was in mortars in the military. Pardon me. I was in mortars. And the concussion from dropping the mortar down the tubes, which I did a lot.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Oh.
I mean,
yeah, exactly. We didn't wear ear guards or anything.
Oh, I didn't know.
I put mortars down by the hundreds, I'm sure. And they said, whether it's true or not, I don't know, but they said the constant concussions, contributed to or gave me this tumor.
I didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
A repetitive stress injury.
No, but it's a noise.
Yeah.
Concussion.
Repetitive stress.
Repetitive stress in experience, but the stress was booming concussion. So again, mother, in her wisdom, talked to our stepfather, Bob Bodine's brother, who was with a very big law firm in Philadelphia, about presenting my case to the government for military disability, which not everybody would have thought to do.
Right.
And so Jim Bodine, Bob's brother, prepared the case, submitted it to the VA decision makers, whoever they were and wherever they were, and they gave me a 60% disability. Now this is kind of funny. They gave me a 60% disability and a couple $1,000, or $1,000, whatever it was. And I bought, Hope and me, I bought a washing machine and dryer with the money. And she thought, well, you know, Bob gets this money and buys me a washer and dryer.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And today I take thousands of dollars, as you too. I take the anti-seizure medication I take costs about $1,000 a month.
I don't know.
Wow. Yeah, and but I get all my meds from the VA, every one of them. And
I'm going to email me. I'll do it because like, and like now it's good because I'll do it. Mm-hmm. Email me. I'm going to do it. Mm-hmm. Wow, I didn't know. Mm-hmm. I didn't know, huh?
And excuse me, financially, I've been moronic. And one of the things that I told myself I'd do with this disability, which I've never needed, for God's sake, put it in a financial account and not touch it until I retired. Well, had I done that, I'd have hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
Maybe $1 million. I don't know. If it been stocks, it'd be about $1 million. But instead, I spent every nickel of it.
Me too.
Yeah. And but then when it's wasteful, and I'm looking at retirement in 3 years, and thinking, whoa, you better get your act in order. So.
Yeah, I know.
I've heard nothing off.
Okay.
Big time.
Oh, big time. He's in the MD PhD program at Washington University. He graduates.
Congratulations, Pop.
Yep. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Me too.
I've had all kinds of problems, big time, as you have, much more so than me, in many regards. But I'm blessed with two wonderful children. My son is in one of the most accomplished people in one of the most stringent programs in the country, and NIH pays 100% of it, plus gives them a stipend.
Wow.
Yeah, our tax dollars at work, but worth it. But I was talking about stem cell research, and being an MD PhD participant, and concentrating in, he's doing a bone marrow replacement surgery as an attendant in the next couple of weeks. And he's had Hodgkin's disease, cancer, as you know, and he knows about you, but tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of other people who could benefit from stem cell research. Now, flip forward. Missouri, St. Louis itself, voted massively to support stem cell research. And one of the things, although our jackass, our moronic president said he will veto stem cell research and is radically against it, states like California, New Jersey's going to build a 100+ extremely expensive, I don't know, millions of dollars, hundreds of tens of millions of dollars at least, outside Camden, and to support stem cell research. California has voted it, but much more importantly, there's a wave in the country that is recognizing the value of stem cell research and recognizing the fact that if the United States doesn't participate or lead the way, it's going to come back in our face from a selfish standpoint financially, from a moral standpoint dramatically, from a healthcare standpoint 10,000-fold. There are people like you who could be or could have been, I don't know what that is, could have been cured had we participated in stem cell research. Now we have people who are committed to stem cell research in the medical education field, going to, what is it, South Korea or some?
Oh, yeah.
South Korea, which is dramatically involved in stem cell research, to the point where I was saying a lot of physicians, many in the research field in the United States, emigrate to these other countries.
Right. Exactly.
To get more support in stem cell research.
Yeah.
Short off again. She was buried, and so Winston and I, we went to St. David's Church. Again, we went to St. David's Church, and where my mother was buried, the funeral was held, and we just sat and thought and prayed, and I sang a verse of the hymn I sang at my mother's funeral, and we went to the cemetery and located her grave. It wasn't that easy. Located her grave, and I put some flowers on it. I felt really good and feel good today, but I haven't done that.
What was her favorite flower?
I don't know.
Well, you ought to plant her some daffodils, something that comes up every year.
Yeah.
Or hyacinths or tulips.
And we were talking about family tragedies.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Winston's brother. George.
Yeah, I remember George.
Do you?
Yeah. He was very timid, as I recall.
He was a mess. Very timid.
Because,
like a shock?
yes.
Yeah. which I don't know what was good or bad, and that's not the point.
Oh no,
But
unbelievable.
yeah, but so George took his life and was buried, and Mother was buried on. It was a 2-person grave. She was on top of him.
And
I'd forgotten that. When we went to the cemetery, I'd forgotten that. So it was interesting.
Wow.
Yeah. So Mother always must have had a sense of guilt, as my parents do.
Yeah.
Not about the shock treatment, just about.
Oh yes. Oh, of course. Of course. Yeah.
So we never answer the phone. Message machine picks up.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.